And this is about how we are lacking moral competence. And that is the basic problem why so many people are getting fooled. Because they haven't learned over the last 20 or 30 years, they haven't learned to use their brains to think about things and to discuss matters. It's easier for some of us to not discuss problematic situations, but just pull out a gun and shoot.
I will just take it from here about what you said. I think when you instill fear, and after fear becomes also hatred in people's mind, then we as humans, as the way I see and with the way we see the whole past year, is changing the way that people can think critically and analyze the situation. So unfortunately, it seems that history is repeating itself time and again. And we can see lack of education, but also using a very vicious tactics to pull people to wherever the regime or the so-called governments wants to take them. You spoke about the media, the mainstream media. I'm not sure there is a media anymore, mainstream media. I think the real media is what we are doing here. It's the open media.
Let me ask you just one question. Do you have the feeling, this is what some of the people who we spoke to today said, do you have the feeling that more and more people are turning away from the mainstream media when they're looking for real information and trying to get this real information from other sources?
Yes, I believe so. But then again, I'm saying people that have been instilled with fear, people that are following the normal trend of just getting the information from the newspaper, and if it's in the newspaper, so obviously it's true, then it's harder for people to wake up. But as we talked yesterday, and we reminded this famous saying that refers to Abraham Lincoln, you can't fool most of the people all the time, or some of the people all the time, or all the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. And now what we see is that there is something going on for a long time. So as long as time is passing, more people and more people are waking up, because you cannot fool all of them, as the saying goes. So we'll go back to the question about the media, the mainstream or so-called media. This is not a media, this is a propaganda channels. And normally you can see that these are big groups, like we see cooperation in everywhere, in economics, in health, in communication, and they are being controlled by a lot of money. And instead of being what we are calling the fourth pillar of democracy, critical channels for information that ask the right questions, bring different opinions to the table, we see what I call a propaganda, because we see, and definitely in Israel, because I can speak about Israel maybe more than any other place in the world, because I'm connected to what's going on over there. Obviously, there is an agenda, and that agenda is being pushed over the population, and unfortunately with a lot of success in the state of Israel. And it's kind of, I would say, symbolic that I'm here in Germany getting a help of people like you guys and all over the world that are saying giving different information and having a different conversation, when in Israel, which is supposed to be, I think, the leader, because of our history of freedom of speech and critical thinking, it became, I feel, and I represent many people in Israel right now that feels that the country, in terms of consciousness, is being hijacked.